All right, everybody, I've passed out some notes for everybody. I've scribbled some notes together. I'm going to still be looking at things for another hour or two before the shows to finalize everything, but I want to give you an overview of what's going on. The Piedmont Triad area has now been put under a winter weather advisory. This was done by Raleigh, and it goes in effect starting at 10 a.m., which is the earliest possible start time for any trouble, up until 7 a.m. Friday, which is the very latest possible time for things to get out. I think things will get started later and get out earlier than those times, but those are the times. Technically, the winter weather advisory is to cover for the possibility of 1 to 3 inch snowfall. Now, the 1 to 3 in their advisory is worded that way because their advisory covers all the way down to eastern North Carolina near I-95. Those areas will be getting the most snow, so that's where the 3-inch snows are going to fall. Our area is going to be less, and I'll get into that in a moment. First of all, our start time for precipitation coming up is likely going to be around lunchtime tomorrow. And when it gets underway, our temperatures in the morning are going to be in the mid to upper 30s. We'll be around 37 at 7 a.m. We may ease up to 38 or 39 by 11, and then we will, once the precip start going backwards again. You get evaporation, the precip falls through the drier air, and it starts to cool the air down, so lower the temperature. By 4 p.m., I'm projecting we'll be back down to about 34 degrees, and then we'll be down to 32 at 7. Now, before anybody goes, well, it can't stick until it's below 32 or colder. If snow falls, if flakes are large enough, they will accumulate before they can melt. So you can still get a coating even if the air temperature is above freezing. So that's a possibility. We'll probably be seeing some tomorrow afternoon. The low temperature tomorrow night, 26. So once we get to the evening and overnight, we'll be at or below freezing the whole time. As far as amounts of snow go, it really will depend on where you are, but let's just use for our reference point first the triad, and then we'll break it down. So for the immediate triad, the heart of the triad, by 1 p.m. tomorrow, some folks may start seeing snowflakes mix in with the rain. Probably going to start as some rain, quickly mixing, and then changing over. As it starts to fall, temperatures around 36, 37. Most of it's going to be just like white rain. You'll see splashes on your windshield, but it's not, and you might see some chunky stuff coming down, but it's not doing anything like pretty snow. But it will start to change over to some nice big fat flakes. Temperatures, again, in the mid-30s, a lot of it's going to be melting, but we could get a little dusting or coating by early afternoon in parts of the Piedmont. By 7 tomorrow night, in the heart of the triad, I think by then we will have picked up close to an inch of slushy snow on grassy, elevated surfaces. Comes down fast enough, hard enough, though, you can get some slush on roadways too, even though the soil is very warm. Speaking of that, the soil temperature right now is 51 degrees. That's really warm. So, you would think, well, nothing's going to stick when it's that warm. Well, again, it comes down faster. It takes time for it to melt, so you get slush to build up. And the grass is more exposed to the air, and that makes it colder, so snow laying on grass can stay without melting. Then it'll be snowing tomorrow night from 7 o'clock until about midnight. By around midnight, things are going to be tapering down west to east. And we will end up with a total in the heart of the triad probably just over an inch. About 1.2 inches total. Across the Piedmont as a whole, I'm looking at about 1 to 2 inches on average, with the 2 being more on the east side, Alamance County, eastern Randolph County, Chatham County, places like that. Farther west, it could go below an inch, and back northwest, it could go below an inch. Specifics for the triad cities, Winston-Salem, I think, is probably going to end up with less than an inch of snow. Greensboro, High Point, Lexington, real close to an inch of snow. Burlington, approximately 2 inches. Down in Troy and southern Montgomery County, it's going to take longer for them to get down to freezing or cold enough for it to stick, so about an inch there. Charlotte area, about 1/2 of an inch of snow. Back in the northwest corner where we normally see more, they're going to have a lot less moisture to work with, and so Mount Airy may get 1/2 of an inch or less. Wilkes County, 1/2 inch to an inch. The mountains, Jefferson, Boone area, probably close to an inch. But the southern mountains closer to 3 inches, and that's because they'll have a lot more moisture to work with in the south. For other parts of the state, eastern North Carolina, the bullseye is probably going to be somewhere between Rocky Mount and Greenville. A lot of our viewers have kids that go to East Carolina. Some of our people are watching us that went to school down that way. That part of the state may get the most, 2 to 4 inches down in that part of the state.